Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I am a blue dot in a red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate through these interesting times in the United States. So I really do appreciate you joining me. The focus of today's reading is going to be the April 5th hands-off marches and the protests. These were organized by 5051, and Indivisible is also promoting them. It's like these two organizations came together to promote these protests. And so what I want to do is I just kind of want to look at the overall energy. Is what do we need to be aware of, or what's going to be the outcome of these protests. So just kind of looking at that for today's reading. Okay. As always, these are for entertainment purposes only. Looking at the 5051 hands-off protest, just what can we expect? What is just the general overall energy surrounding those protests on April 5th? Okay, new beginnings. Okay, Fool card is just one of, new beginnings. Let's see what else comes up with that. Queen of Pentacles. This is like new beginnings for our country. It's almost like feels like it could be like a turning point almost for our country. King of Pentacles. Two sides coming together. The reason I was just a little bit hesitant about this King of Pentacles is that when I'm talking about the Musk-Trump administration, this is my Elon Musk card, the guy with all the money. However, I was asking about the protests. I don't see him out there joining the protest at all. But this is kind of like this idea of our country becoming stronger because of this. I mean, that's that. We go from a queen is the nurturer. The king is going to be like the protector. I mean, it's like this better balance. Like this are a balance in our country, like moving forward, just stronger for our country is the main thing. And then you get this two sides. There are people that voted for Trump. They may not be, completely entrenched in the, MAGA propaganda. And they're going to be joining these protests. Expect these protests to probably be even bigger than what we've seen in the past. Looking out into the future, who are we as a country? And this is the energy coming in. This is like, we want, a country that's secure, a country, for the people, of the people, by the people. And this is the energy then coming in of, we thought we had that. And then this Musk-Trump administration just, took a wrecking ball to everything. And so how do we get this back? How do we get our country back? How is it that we see our country moving into the future? And then this is also, like, I said that it's good. These protests are going to be growing. We go from the 2 to 3. So, definitely there's a growth between those two cards. And so much disappointment. This is, the outcome is, this is the outcome. And I was asking about the protest. This is a lot of disappointment, but there's still hope. So, we're not going to remove, Trump isn't going to be removed from office on Saturday. Okay. It's not going to be like our national nightmare isn't going to come to an end that soon is the feeling I'm getting with this. But we're still protesting. We're still going forward, and there's still a lot of hope here. Okay. They haven't ruined everything yet is what I'm feeling with that. So, are we going to be seeing just, record number of protests here? I'm curious about the numbers of people. I want to know about the crowd size. Oh, geez. The crowd size of these rallies. And specifically, let's just do that. Okay, crowd size. What are those crowds going to look like? The Tower card. This is like probably, I'm getting that feeling of like the 34,000 that was at Denver for AOC and Bernie. This may be just like it blows the doors off any, the rallies that we've seen in the past. This is like a state of rest. Huh. Oh, excuse me. Here, hold on just a second. Let me pause this. Okay, I think I'm back. I am back. Sorry about that. I had a little tickle in my throat. I had to get a drink of water and had to take care of that. Okay, with this, you get the Tower card, which is just like a lot of, this is a lot of energy, a lot of energy coming from this. This is a really harsh card, so I'm going to try not to sugarcoat it too much. But this is just like, you can see here, this is just everything kind of exploding here. Okay. And then a state of rest. I almost am getting this feeling like I think the Musk-Trump administration are shocked. They're surprised at just how many people are coming out to these protests. Because it's like, I get this feeling of being caught flat-footed here. Like they're just not, they weren't expecting this. Knight of Pentacles. King of Cups. So yeah, I think Trump is going to be lashing out. Let me see what else comes up here. So because this is like a methodical plan going forward, but nothing that Trump does is methodical. So everything he does is just erratic. Who's going to be in control? You know, the people wanting to control him. And I always get this, like, it's the people that are coming from a position of strength when it comes to him. He never comes from a position of strength, like, ever. He is never in a strong position because, you know, he can be played so easily. All you have to do is compliment him, you know, and he gives in. So, you know, that's why he's never coming from a place of strength, ever. And the disappointment, the winning at all costs, I wonder, is he going to try to, I mean, he lashes out. Is there going to be something that happens in the DC? I mean, he goes to Mar-a-Lago and does, you know, most weekends and goes golfing anyway. So what's Trump going to do? Is this just, you know, something more than, you know, lashing out, fighting? You know, I don't even think he's going to be in DC. This is, you know, being the hermit card. Like he leaves. He's not even going to be there. He doesn't want to see it. He's doing something else. So, this Knight of Pentacles, I just want to make sure, you know, he's not going to try to have some stupid photo op, is he? Like he did, you know, during the Black Lives Matters protests. Let me see just more about this Knight of Pentacles. And this could be, you know, if we're talking about DC, and there probably would be an increased police presence. I mean, because there just would be at those types of rallies. You know, I'm not saying there's anything nefarious about it. A lot of that is to protect the protesters from the counter-protesters. So let me see, what is this Knight of Pentacles? What do we need to know about that? You know, this is working, our country. I don't know, some of my cards got turned upside down here. And yeah, this is just the people going forward. Yeah, so yeah, that looks fine there in the DC. Yeah. I was just a little concerned about the DC rally because of what, you know, Trump did during the Black Lives Matters, when he had to clear the, you know, path for a photo op with an upside down Bible. But this is showing that I don't even think he's going to be there. I mean, he'll probably, you know, trash, you know, whatever out on, you know, Trash Social there, his media platform. But I don't even know that he's going to be in DC. So, that doesn't mean he can't give orders to do something, but I'm just not seeing that be a thing. Let's see, what else? I'm picking up some of these cards. What else do we want to know about the protests? It looks like they're growing in size and number. It looks like, yeah, that there's more people joining these protests. I got that, the people that maybe they voted for Trump, but they're not MAGA, you know, they haven't been MAGA for the past, you know, 10 years. They're definitely waking up, and so they're, you know, you're going to get more people joining those protests in that. So with that being said, here, I'm going to pause this just for a second. Okay, sorry, I had to pause that just for a second because I'm like, I know that there's something else I want to ask, but I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. So what I want to ask is, so the elected officials, especially the Republicans, are going to be seeing this. Are any of them going to be, I don't know, saying no to Trump? Are these protests going to help change any of the either House of Representatives or senators' minds when it comes to opposing Trump? Okay. Just because of the sheer numbers that we're going to, you know, that we're going to be seeing. Are any of the Republicans going to be waking up to this? And with that, happiness. This is also a card of gluttony, being drunk on power. And this is, they're in control. They don't care. They are going to spin and lie. Those Sunday morning programs, they're just going to be out there, lying and spinning their own truth. They see it, though. And I think that there's probably, there's fighting behind closed doors. There's Republicans that don't agree with what's going on, or at least not, in its entirety. But I don't see anything here saying that they're going to come forward, and it's still just towing the line. The pages, they're going to be, the good little water boys and girls for Donald there. So it's not going to change any Republicans' minds, at least not. My feeling is they're not going to be going out on the Sunday morning shows going, oh yeah, we saw everybody protesting, and so now we're going to actually, take our role back in Congress and provide checks and balances. I think that you're going to start getting those conversations behind the scenes. That's more the feeling. So just because, your elected official may still be out there, spewing whatever bullshit they're spewing, because they're still going to be, good little MAGA. There's definitely talks behind the scenes. So don't think, not protesting isn't having an effect, because it is. We're just maybe not seeing it yet. Okay. So, just will these protests continue to grow? And protests continuing to grow. Don's not happy. And he, this is the very quickly card. He quickly is not happy. He just doesn't understand why people don't love him. Love me. He knows that this looks bad for him. So he is wanting a stronger stance, but I don't know, against this. You get Pam Bondi here. I get her more as the PR person for, instead of the actual Attorney General, I get her more as PR for the Attorney General. So, I don't know that any of them are going to really have a stomach for putting down, for trying to stop the protests, because these are peaceful protests and it's our right. And so I'm just not seeing anything here they may say something, but Trump is, this is going to be a non-starter for, expect a lot of lashing out by Trump. And I don't know. And there may be some, they may say things, but there's not going to be really any follow through with that, at all with that. So, what else? Yeah, I think that is pretty much, I'm just thinking here, I think that's pretty much it for the protest. It looks like it's going to be just fine. Counter protesters. I knew there was one more thing. Let me pull this back up again. I've been surprised that we haven't been seeing the counter protesters. And I live in a very red state, in a very red area. And during the first Trump era, the Trump flags on the back of pickup trucks, oh my God, if I never see one of those things ever again, it will be a wonderful day. But this go around, I'm not seeing it. At all. We used to have all these little pop-up stands selling all that Trump shit, we don't now. I used to see, the people in support of him. Don't see it. Used to have people at the counter protests. Counter protesting. I've not been seeing any of it. And as I said, I live in a really red area, and I've attended the Women's March here. I watch all the other protests. I'm just not seeing it. So I'm curious, are there going to be counter protesters at any of these things? Or any of these, and by things, I mean, any of them, whether it's a march, whether it's a protest, whether it's a town hall, are there going to be counter protesters? Okay. Happiness, security, the world card. It's almost this feeling of they won, so they don't feel the need to protest. It's okay. But they're not flaunting it either, which is surprising. And I guess that's it. Like the counter protesters aren't even flaunting this. Our country moving in a new direction. I'm not, this is interesting that these two cards come up together. And of course I switch back to my Morgan Greer deck because, just see if I can find, of course I can't find these cards real easily here in my other deck. Okay. In the Rider-Waite, these cards are very similar. In fact, I'm going to pause this again and just find those cards real quick for you. Okay, I'm back. So many times whenever I get these two cards, I always say, now, in the Rider deck, these cards look really similar. So what I did was I paused it real quick just so that I could pull out these cards from my Rider-Waite deck. And so here you've got the Lovers, and here you've got the Devil. And if you look, they are very similar. Okay? You have, and even in numerology, this is a 6. And this is 15, which breaks down to a 6. So these are very similar cards. They both carry the energy of 6. This is one of just two sides of the same coin. These are two people that have come together willingly, and they're very happy. They're in a very passionate, mutual relationship, where they're on equal footing here. And then this one is not. These are two people that are chained together to the Devil. And it's just that negative, it's, toxicity. It is not one of equality. And so that's interesting. As I said, I just wanted to pull those two up so that you could see what those cards look like. So I don't want to get these two decks mixed in. I kind of wanted to do that okay. Side note, I have several decks, and most readers do. And, it's like, oh, I love the card in this one. I love the card in this one. I love the card in this one. And I've actually thought about just combining them, like, just taking the cards out, creating a deck of my favorite cards from all of the decks. So maybe I'll do that someday. Okay, so back to this. What I am seeing here is, because I was asking about counter protesters. It's like, come back to what I was talking about. This is like, they see like they got what they wanted. That's exactly what this is. They got what they wanted. However, this is like moving in a direction that they're not happy with. I don't think that, they're happy with the direction that this country is going. So I'm wondering, it's like we're not seeing the counter protesters because there aren't counter protesters, because they're going to be joining in the protests themselves, because this is what they thought they were going to get, but they got this instead. Okay. It was like, this is not what they voted for. So with that, I just wonder, is this why we're not seeing counter protesters? Are they going to start joining in? Are they going to be joining in? I think so. This is what they're thinking. Some people probably have. We're not seeing them in big numbers yet. But, the red hats going in a new direction. They are not happy with, what they're seeing. The federal employees, that maybe voted for Trump, they're losing their jobs. The people that are seeing, maybe family members deported. It's like, but I thought you were going to deport the criminals. So it's like that type of feeling of, this is not what we signed up for. And making the decisions to go into they're not happy. Making the decisions to go, to leave Don behind here is what I'm seeing here. So yeah, I think the protests are going to be fine. Trump's going to, be spewing whatever bullshit he always does. He's not going to be happy. And so expect some posturing with that. That's, par for the course. That's what he does. A lot of bluster. The protests and the town halls that I see that just growing. It's just going to continue to grow. The people that maybe they voted for Trump, but as I said, they're not MAGA. They just made a bad decision because they thought it was going to be one thing, and now they're realizing, that switch and bait is not what they wanted. So that's why those protests are going to start growing. People are going to start feeling like they can join in with these protests. So yeah, it looks just fine for that. So, take water, wear comfortable shoes, wear your sunscreen. make your signs. You know, we're going to be attending one. So if you see me, say hi. And yeah, so it looks like it's going to be just fine that day. So enjoy, have a good time, and I will catch you on the next video.